So, good morning. I'm going to use this mic. So I work, as Liz said, at the Center for Learning and Digital Access, and I think I'm very lucky in the fact that I get to spend my days thinking about ways that institutions like ours can connect with the experiences that young learners have while in school, experiences typically that they have with their teachers. And so to do that, I first look at the ways that we have traditionally reached out and served teachers and students. And so, obviously lesson plans, right? So we do an exhibition, and typically our education teams create some lesson plans. These are formal experiences. They're typically, tied to standards. And they're usually typically based on our outreach goals, right? The outreach goals of the exhibition. So next, field trips, right? So the class comes to the museum. Their teachers work with their educators to create some sort of learning experience. Sometimes we know they're coming, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we prepare materials for them in advance. But these are both experiences mediated by a teacher, right? So if we think about that, cool, right? So lesson plans, check. Field trips, check. So, education is sort of done, right? I'm here, though. I think it's not going to be a surprise to tell you, though, that if this continues to be your approach to impacting young people, you're most likely failing. The potential that we have for deep impact in learning is a powerful one, but one that is easily wasted if we're not attuned to the realities of the world around us, and in the case of K-12 education, the realities of teachers and students. So education is changing really, really fast. And to demonstrate this, to illustrate this, I want to tell you a little story today, and I want to introduce you to someone. This is Bert. Bert's 4. He's a learner. He's eager. He's ready to understand the world. And looking into the future, in 50 years, Bert is going to help save some of us. He is going to help make life better. And why? Well, because of this, right? So this is a little extreme maybe, right? But it's clear that the world is changing really, really fast. And we need Bert to be successful. So this might be an extreme example, but what is really happening is this. So this is from a really amazing site from NOAA. It's showing the part of the world I live in here, and the red sections of the map show areas of a high impact given about a 2-foot rise in sea level, which is within the estimated range for about 50 years from now. The areas in red show high-risk populations that will be deeply impacted by this modest rise. So we need Bert to be successful. So Bert already has an interest in science, but the thing that's going to push him, that's going to make him move in this direction, that's going to lead to success, that thing, that person, is in your museum. So maybe it's an ocean hall that helps him understand the vast preciousness of the seas, or a painting that excites his heart. And so, if we remember those lesson plans, right, so the research shows clearly that teachers do not use the lesson plans like we continue to publish them. Studies on digital learning in the classroom and the use of digital museum content indicate that educators need flexibility to create resources that meet the learning needs of particular individual students. This is what lesson plans look like. So what about the field trip we may have been relying on for Bert? So there are about 55 million primary and secondary students in the US, and the white areas on the graph here show field trips in the US. So 2007, 55 million field trips. 2010, only 35 million field trips. In 2011, 15 million field trips. So, sorry for Bert, and sorry for all of us, right? So the good news, though, is that there are things that we can do, working with the educators at your museum, things that we can do together to make a difference in the lives of teachers and their young learners. So I'm going to talk about 3 things in my remaining time that you and me need to do together at our institutions to make sure that Bert can find his way to our collections, our experts, our inspiration. So the first, number 1, is we need to support the acquisition of skills needed for success in the 21st century through the creation of digital learning experiences for the learners directly. Okay? So there's really a great deal of consensus about what that set of skills are that are needed for success in the 21st century. And these are things, I'm sure everyone's heard of. These are critical thinking, innovation, creativity, teamwork, collaboration. They're really things that museums are so well positioned to offer. Experiences that foster connections, are multidisciplinary, are relevant to students' lives. So 2, museums should operate ubiquitously in the digital education space. So don't ditch everything you've created, just do a much better job of sharing it. So forge partnerships with content aggregators. Get involved in infrastructure programs like the Learning Registry. Make sure that your content is aligned with educational metadata like the Learning Resource Metadata Initiative. And finally, 3, museums should open access and empower teachers and students to create, to make with our content. So you can do this through the development of digital tools, or you can make sure that your content is living in places where those tools already exist. So, these things sound great, but what does this really mean for Bert, right? So this is Bert here, and this is his classmate Ozzy. So Ozzy, instead of selling cookies or doing a lemonade stand, the kind of thing that you and I may have done when we were kids to raise some money, Ozzy's going to download high-resolution public domain images from your websites. Ozzy's going to make t-shirts. He's going to create a business. And it's going to be his first taste of understanding trade, supply, demand, business, industry. So looking ahead again, Ozzy in 50 years is going to end up creating a corporation, and that corporation is going to end up creating a foundation that's going to support the work that Bert does to help us all understand and adapt to a changing world. So I hope this little bit has helped us all maybe understand a little bit about how this might work, right? About how this kind of outreach can have long-term consequences. And we can do this. We really can do this. And so I'm asking you this morning to think about all of this, to remember Bert, to go back to your museum and grab your educator and think about ways that you together can create digital experiences for learners, connect your content, and empower those learners to create. So, thank you.